Namaskar everyone. Let's just start chapter 5, which is Union and its territory. Right now we have 28 states and 8 union territories. Article 1 to 4 under part 1 of the Constitution deal with Union and its territory. Union of States. Article 1 describes India, that is Bharat, as a union of states rather than a federation of states. This provision deals with two things. 1. Name of the country, and 2. Type of polity. There was no unanimity in the Constituent Assembly with regard to the name of the country. Some members suggested the traditional name Bharat, while others advocated the modern name India. Hence, the Constituent Assembly had to adopt a mix of both. India, that is Bharat. Secondly, the country is described as union, although its constitution is federal in structure. According to B.R. Ambedkar, the phrase Union of States has been preferred to Federation of States for two reasons. One, the Indian Federation is not the result of an agreement among the states like the American Federation, and 2, the states have no right to secede from the federation. The federation right to secede, the federation is a union because it is indestructible. The country is an integral whole and divided into different states only for the convenience of the administration. According to Article 1, the territory of India can be classified into 3 categories. First is territories of the states. Second, union territories. Third, territories that may be acquired by the Government of India at any time. The names of the states and union territories and their territorial extent are mentioned in the first schedule of the Constitution. At present, there are 29 states and 7 union territories. And here we have to be aware that this book, this big book or this page is from the old edition. So we have to update the information here. At present, in 2026, we have 28 states and 8 union territories. The number of union territories became 8 following the merger of Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli in January 2020 and the reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir in 2019. So the union territories are Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Chandigarh, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu together. Delhi, the National Capital Territory, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Lakshadweep and Puducherry. Moving forward, the provisions of the Constitution pertaining to the states are applicable to all the states except Jammu and Kashmir. This was the earlier version of the law. In the same manner, however, the special provisions under Part 11 applicable to the states of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Nagaland, Assam, Manipur, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Sikkim, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Goa and Karnataka override the general provisions relating to the states as a class. Sorry for my voice. Let's continue. Further, the 5th and 6th schedules contain separate provisions with respect to the administration of scheduled areas and tribal areas within the states. Notably, the territory of India is a wider expression than the Union of India because the latter includes only states while the former includes not only the states but also union territories and territories that may be acquired by the Government of India at any further time. The states are the members of the federal system and share a distribution of powers with the center. The union territories and the acquired territories, on the other hand, are directly administered by the central government. Being a sovereign state, India can acquire foreign territories according to the modes recognized by international law, that is, cession, following treaty, purchase, gift, lease, or plebiscite. Occupation, hitherto unoccupied by a recognized ruler, conquest, or subjugation. For example, India acquired several foreign territories such as Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Goa, Daman and Diu, Puducherry, and Sikkim since the commencement of the constitution. The acquisition of these territories are discussed later in this chapter. Article 2 empowers the Parliament to admit into the Union of India or establish new states on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. Thus, Article 2 grants two powers to the Parliament. A. The power to admit into the Union of India new states, and B. The power to establish new states. The first refers to the admission of states which are already in existence, while the second refers to the establishment of states which were not in existence before. Notably, Article 2 relates to the admission or establishment of new states that are not part of Union of India. Article 3, on the other hand, relates to the formation of or changes in the existing states of the Union of India. In other words, Article 3 deals with the internal adjustment inter se of the territories of the constituent states of the Union of India. This is a bit complicated sentence, so I'm going to read it again. Notably, Article 2 relates to the admission or establishment of new states that are not part of Union of India. Article 3, on the other hand, relates to the formation of or changes in the existing states of the Union of India. In other words, Article 3 deals with the internal readjustment, inter se, of the territories and of the constituent states of the Union of India. Parliament's power to reorganize the states. Article 3 authorized the Parliament to form a new state by separation of territory from any state, or by uniting two or more states or parts of states, or by uniting any territory to a part of any state. For example, we have Telangana, Leh Ladakh from Jammu and Kashmir, and the merger of Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Second, increase the area of any state. Third, diminish the area of any state. Fourth, alter the boundaries of any state. And E, alter the name of any state. However, Article 3 lays down two conditions in this regard. 1. A bill contemplating the above changes can be introduced in the Parliament only with the prior recommendation of the President. And 2. Before recommending the bill, the President has to refer the same to the state legislature concerned for expressing its views within a specified period. Further, the power of Parliament to form a new states includes the power to form a new state or union territory by uniting a part of any state or union territory to any other state or union territory. The President or Parliament is not bound by the views of the state legislature and may either accept or reject them. even if the views are received in time. Further, it is not necessary to make a fresh reference to the state legislature every time an amendment to the bill is moved and accepted in Parliament. In case of a union territory, no reference need to be made to concerned legislature to ascertain its views, and the Parliament can itself take any action as it deems fit. It is thus clear that the Constitution authorizes the Parliament to form new states or alter the areas, boundaries, or names of the existing states without their consent. In other words, Parliament can redraw the political map of India according to its will. It's an important sentence, by the way, that the Parliament can redraw the political map of India according to its will. Hence, the territorial integrity or continued existence of any state is not guaranteed by the Constitution. Therefore, India is rightly described as an indestructible union of destructible states. An indestructible union of destructible states. The union government can destroy the states, whereas the state governments cannot destroy the union. In USA, on the other hand, the territorial integrity or continued existence of a state is guaranteed by the Constitution. The American federal government cannot form new states or alter the borders of existing states without the consent of the states concerned. That is why the USA is described as an indestructible union of indestructible states. Moreover, the Constitution, Article 4 itself declares that laws made for admission or establishment of new states under Article 2 and formation of new states and alteration of areas, boundaries, or names of existing states, Article 3, are not to be considered as amendments of the Constitution under Article 368. This means that such laws can be passed by a simple majority and by the ordinary legislative process. Does the power of Parliament to diminish the areas of a state under Article 3 include also the power to cede Indian territory to a foreign country? This question came up for examination before the Supreme Court in a reference made by the President in 1960. The decision of the central government to cede part of a territory known as Berubari Union, West Bengal, to Pakistan led to political agitation and controversy, and thereby necessitated the presidential reference. The Supreme Court held that the power of Parliament to diminish the areas of a state under Article 3 does not cover cession of Indian territory to a foreign country. Hence, Indian territory can be ceded to a foreign state only by amending the Constitution under Article 368. Consequently, the 9th Constitutional Amendment Act 1960 was enacted to transfer the said territory to Pakistan. On the other hand, the Supreme Court in 1969 ruled that settlement of a boundary dispute between India and other country does not require a constitutional amendment. It can be done by executive action, as it does not involve cession of Indian territory to a foreign country. The 100th Constitutional Amendment Act 2015 was enacted to give effect to the acquiring of certain territories by India and transfer of certain other territories to Bangladesh in pursuance of the agreement and its protocol entered into between the governments of India and Bangladesh. Under this deal, India transferred 3 enclaves to Bangladesh. India transferred 3rd enclaves to Bangladesh, while Bangladesh transferred 51 enclaves to India. In addition, the deal also involved the transfer of adverse possessions and the demarcation of a 6.1 kilometer undemarcated border stretch. For these 3 purposes, the amendment modified the provisions relating to the territories of 4 states: Assam, West Bengal, Meghalaya, and Tripura in the first schedule of the Constitution. The background of this amendment is as follows. India and Bangladesh have a common land boundary of approximately 4096.7 kilometers, which is 4096.7 kilometers. The India East Pakistan land boundary was determined as per the Radcliffe Award of the 1947. Disputes arose out of some provisions in the Radcliffe Award which were sought to be resolved through the Baggy Award of 1950. Another effort was made to settle these disputes by Nehru-Noon Agreement of 1958. However, the issue relating to division of Berubari Union was challenged before the Supreme Court. To comply with the opinion rendered by the Supreme Court, the Constitution 9th Amendment Act 1960 was passed by the Parliament. Due to the continuous litigation and other political developments at that time, Constitution with 9th Amendment Act 1960 could not be notified in respect of territories in former East Pakistan, which is presently Bangladesh. Second is, on 16th May 1974, the agreement between India and Bangladesh concerning the demarcation of land boundary and related matters was signed between both the countries to find a solution to the complex nature of the border demarcation involved. This agreement was not ratified as it involved inter alia transfer of territory, which requires a constitutional amendment. In this connection, it was also required to identify the precise area of the ground which would be transferred. Subsequently, the issues relating to demarcation of an undemarcated boundary, the territories in adverse possession and exchange of enclaves were identified and resolved by signing a protocol on 6 September 2011, which forms an integral part of the land boundary agreement between the India and Bangladesh in 1974. The protocol was prepared with support of concurrence of the concerned state governments of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and West Bengal. Evolution of states and union territories. Integration of princely states. At the time of independence, India comprised 2 categories of political units, namely the British provinces under the direct rule of British government and the princely states under the rule of native princes but subject to the paramountcy of the British crown. The Indian Independence Act 1947 created 2 independent and separate dominions of India and Pakistan and gave 3 options to the princely states, which are joining India, joining Pakistan, or remaining independent. Of the 552 princely states situated within the geographical boundaries of India, 549 joined the India, and the remaining three, which are Hyderabad, Junagadh, and Kashmir, refused to join India. However, in course of time, they were also integrated with India. Hyderabad by means of police action, Junagadh by means of referendum, and Kashmir by the instrument of accession. In 1950, the constitution contained a four-fold classification of the states of the Indian Union: Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D state. In all, they numbered 29. Part A, states comprised 9 erstwhile governors provinces of British India. Part B, states consisted of 9 erstwhile princely states with legislature. Part C, states considered of erstwhile chief commissioners provinces of British India, and some of the erstwhile princely states. These Part C states, in all 10 in number, were centrally administered. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands were kept as the solitary Part D state. Here is the table shown, table 5.1, in which in Part A we have 9 states, in Part B we have 9 states, and Part C we have 10 states, and in Part D we have Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Let's continue with Dhar Commission and JVP Committee. The integration of princely states with the rest of the India has purely an ad hoc arrangement. There has been a demand from different regions, particularly South India, for reorganization of states on linguistic basis. Accordingly, in June 1948, the Government of India appointed the Linguistic Provinces Commission under the chairmanship of S.K. Dhar to examine the feasibility of this. The commission submitted its report in December 1948 and recommended the reorganization of states on the basis of administrative convenience rather than linguistic factor. This created much resentment and led to the appointment of another Linguistic Provinces Committee by the Congress in December 1948 itself to examine the whole question afresh. It is consisted of Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel, and Pattabhi Sitaramaiah, and hence was popularly known as JVP Committee. It submitted its report in April 1949 and formally rejected language as the basis of reorganization of states. However, in October 1953, the Government of India was forced to create the first linguistic state known as Andhra state, by separating Telugu-speaking areas from the Madras state. This followed a prolonged popular agitation and the death of Potti Sri Ramulu, a congressperson of standing, after a 56-day hunger strike for the cause. Now, Fazl Ali Commission. The creation of Andhra state intensified the demand of other reasons for creation of states on linguistic basis. This forced Government of India to appoint in December 1953 a 3-member states reorganization commission under the chairmanship of Fazl Ali to re-examine the whole question. Its other 2 members were K.M. Panikkar and H.N. Kunzru. It submitted its report in September 1955 and broadly accepted language as the basis of reorganization of states. But it rejected the theory of one language, one state. Its view was that the unity of India should be regarded as the primary consideration in any redrawing of the country's political units. It identified four major factors that can be taken into account in any scheme of reorganization of states. A. Preservation and strengthening of unity and security of the country. B. Linguistic and cultural homogeneity. C. Financial, economic, and administrative considerations. D. Planning and promotion of the welfare of the state, of the people in each state, as well as the nation as a whole. The Commission suggested the abolition of the fourfold classification of states under the original constitution and creation of 16 states and 3 centrally administered territories. The Government of India accepted these recommendations with certain minor modifications. By the States Reorganization Act 1956 and 7th Constitutional Amendment Act 1956, the distinction between Part A and Part B states was done away with and Part C states were abolished. Some of them were merged with adjacent states and some other were designated as the Union Territories. As a result, 14 states and 6 Union Territories were created on November 1st, 1956. Here we have a table of 14 states and 6 Union Territories. The States Reorganization Act of 1956 established the new state of Kerala by merging the Travancore Cochin state with the Malabar district of Madras state and Kasargode of South Kannada, Dakshin Kannada. It merged the Telugu-speaking areas of Hyderabad state with the Andhra state to create the Andhra Pradesh state. Further, it merged the Madhya Bharat state, Vindhya Pradesh state and Bhopal state into Madhya Pradesh state. Similarly, it merged the Saurashtra state and Kutch into that of a Bombay state, the Coorg state into the Mysore state, the Patiala and East Punjab states union, Pepsu, into that of Punjab state, and the Ajmer state into that of Rajasthan state. Moreover, it created the new union territory of Lakshadweep, Minicoy, and Amindivi Island from the territory detached from the Madras state. So, the new states and union territories created after 1956. Even after the large-scale reorganization of the states in 1956, the political map of India underwent continuous change due to the pressure of the popular agitations and political conditions. The demand for the creation of some more states on the basis of language or cultural homogeneity resulted in the bifurcation of existing states. Maharashtra and Gujarat. In 1960, the bilingual state of Bombay was divided into 2 separate states, Maharashtra for Marathi-speaking people and Gujarat for Gujarati-speaking people. Gujarat was established as the 15th state of the Indian Union. Dadra and Nagar Haveli. The Portuguese ruled this territory until its liberation in 1954. Subsequently, the administration was carried on till 1961 by an administrator chosen by the people themselves. It was converted into a union territory of India by the 10th Constitutional Amendment Act 1961. Goa, Daman and Diu. India acquired these 3 territories from the Portuguese by means of police action in 1961. They were constituted as a union territory by the 12th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1962. Later, in 1987, the Goa was conferred as statehood. Consequently, Daman and Diu was made a separate union territory. Now, Puducherry. The territory of Puducherry comprises the former French establishment in India known as Puducherry, Karaikal, Mahe, and Yanam. The French handed over this territory to India in 1954. Subsequently, it was administered as an acquired territory till 1962, when it was made a union territory by the 14th Constitutional Amendment Act. Next is Nagaland. In 1963, the state of Nagaland was formed by taking the Naga Hills and Tuanshang area out of the state of Assam. This was done to satisfy the movement of the hostile Nagas. However, before giving Nagaland the status of the 16th state of the Indian Union, it was placed under the control of Governor of Assam in 1961. Haryana, Chandigarh and Himachal Pradesh. In 1966, the state of Punjab was bifurcated to create Haryana, the 17th state of Indian Union, and the Union Territory of Chandigarh. This followed the demand for a separate Sikh homeland, Punjabi Sabha, raised by the Akali Dal under the leadership of Master Tara Singh. On the recommendation of the Shah Commission 1966, the Punjabi-speaking areas were constituted into the unilingual state of Punjab, and the Hindi-speaking areas were constituted into the state of Haryana, and the hill areas were merged with the adjoining union territory of Himachal Pradesh. In 1971, the Union Territory of Himachal Pradesh was elevated to the status of a state, which is 18th state of the Indian Union. Now, Manipur, Tripura and Meghalaya. In 1972, the political map of Northeast India underwent major change. In 1972, thus the Union Territories of Manipur, Tripura and the sub-state of Meghalaya got statehood, and the two union territories of Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh, originally known as the Northeast Frontier Agency (NEFA), came into being. With this, the number of states of Indian Union increased to 21. Manipur was 19th, Tripura was 28th, and Meghalaya was 21st. Initially, the 22nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1969 created Meghalaya as an autonomous state or sub-state within the state of Assam, with its own legislature and council of ministers. However, this did not satisfy the aspirations of the people of Meghalaya. The union territories of the Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh were also formed out of the territories of Assam. Now, Sikkim. Till 1947, Sikkim was an Indian princely state ruled by Chogyal. In 1947, after the lapse of British paramountcy, Sikkim became a protectorate of India. It was protecting India, so protectorate of India, whereby the Indian government assumed responsibility for the defense, external affairs and communications of Sikkim. In 1974, Sikkim expressed its desire for greater association with India. Accordingly, the 35th Constitutional Amendment Act 1974 was enacted by the Parliament. This amendment introduced a new class of statehood under the Constitution by conferring on Sikkim the status of an associate state. of the Indian Union. For this purpose, a new Article 2A and a new schedule, which is 10th schedule, containing the terms and conditions of association, were inserted in the constitution. This experiment, however, did not last long, as it could not fully satisfy the aspirations of the people of Sikkim. In a referendum held in 1975, they voted for the abolition of the institution of Chogyal and Sikkim becoming an integral part of India. Consequently, the 36th Constitutional Amendment Act 1975 was enacted to make Sikkim a full-fledged state of the Indian Union, the 22nd state. So, the Sikkim was 22nd state of India. This amendment amended the first and the fourth schedules of the Constitution and added a new Article 371F to provide for certain special provisions with respect to the administration of Sikkim. It also repealed Article 2A and the 10th schedule that were added by the 35th Amendment Act of 1974. Moving on, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh and Goa. In 1987, three new states of Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh and Goa came into being as the 23rd, 24th and 25th states of Indian Union respectively. The Union Territory of Mizoram was conferred to the status of a full state as a sequel to the signing of a Memorandum of Settlement, Mizoram Peace Accord in 1986 between the central government and the Mizo National Front, ending the 2-decade-old insurgency. Arunachal Pradesh had also been a union territory from 1972. The state of Goa was created by separating the territory of Goa from the union territory of Goa, Daman and Diu. Now Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand. In 2000, three more new states of Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand were created out of the territories of Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar respectively. These became the 26th, 27th and 28th state of Indian Union respectively. Telangana in 2014, the new state of Telangana came into existence as 29th state of Indian Union. It was carved out of the territories of Andhra Pradesh. The Andhra State Act of 1953 formed the first linguistic state of India, known as the state of Andhra, by taking out the Telugu speaking areas from the state of Madras, now Tamil Nadu. Kurnool was the capital of Andhra state and the state high court was established at Guntur. The State Reorganization Act of 1956 merged the Telugu speaking areas of Hyderabad state with the Andhra state to create the enlarged Andhra Pradesh state. The capital of the state was shifted to Hyderabad. Again, the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act of 2014 bifurcated the Andhra Pradesh into two separate states, namely the Andhra Pradesh Residuary and the Telangana. Hyderabad is made the joint capital of both the states for a period of 10 years. During this period, the Andhra Pradesh should establish its own separate capital. Similarly, the Andhra Pradesh High Court is renamed as Hyderabad High Court, High Court of Judicature of Hyderabad, and is made common for both the states till the separate High Court is set up for the state of Andhra Pradesh. So today the capital of Andhra Pradesh is Amravati, as we all know. Thus the number of states and UTs union territories increased from 14 and 6 in 1956 to 29 and 7 in 2014 and 28 and 8 in 2026 respectively. In today's scenario, there are 28 states and 8 union territories. The names, changes of the names. The names of some states and UTs have also been changed. The United Provinces was the first state to have a new name. It was renamed Uttar Pradesh in 1950. In 1969, Madras was renamed Tamil Nadu. Similarly, in 1973, Mysore was renamed as Karnataka. In the same year, Lakshadweep, Minicoy and Amindevi Islands were renamed. Lakshadweep in 1992, the Union Territory of Delhi was redesignated as the National Capital Territory of Delhi without being conferred the status of a full-fledged state by the 69th Constitutional Amendment Act 1991. In 2006, Uttaranchal was renamed as Uttarakhand. In the same year, Pondicherry was renamed as Puducherry. In 2011, Odisha was renamed as Odisha. Here is the table of 2014 updated till 2016. But in 2026 we have different scenario, and the states are I will read this name of states once: Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, Sikkim, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and West Bengal. These are the 28 states of 2026 India. And the UTs: Andaman and Nicobar Island, Chandigarh, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Lakshadweep and Puducherry. Here the Ladakh is one additional state, additional union territory which was added. And now we are on the last page of this chapter. We have a table on this page, table 5.4, which is on articles related to union and territory at a glance. We can have a look on them. And there are some notes and references on in which mostly they are references. So in this way we have completed chapter 5. आप सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. जय हिंद, जय भारत.